All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode. Um, Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed my how to make black walnut stain. Hopefully, it was informative. So, what we have on the chopping block today is we're actually going to make a small walnut bowl, and we have the piece of wood right here. And maybe you can't see, well, you can see it a little bit. This big piece here is actually a very large cooking spoon that I'll be making next. But on the other side, which I would maybe generally consider it waste wood, I kind of mapped out a couple of circles. So we have the rim and then basically the bowl. I could have gotten 2 cooking spoons out of this very easily, but I wanted to have a very, very large spoon. I made one similar to this before, and so I just wanted a big, hefty spoon, so I decided to just try to make a bowl out of this waste here. So without further ado, hopefully my cats don't go too crazy. Watch out of the way, Coxa. Watch out, buddy. Let me put a sheath on this axe. We're going to start with this adze, and this is an adze that I got off of eBay from someone overseas, I think from like Romania. And it's actually it's a good adze, but I think what happened was when, again, this is through experimentation poorly on my part, I screwed up the heat treat on this. I tried to sharpen it because it wasn't like super sharp when I got it. So I wanted to try to, sharpen it up. And I think I overheated the edge and it got discolored. So I think the heat treat may have been messed up. So it's, at least that's what I want to think anyway. So it is kind of sharp, but it's not super great. So, don't really have the money right now for like a lot of new tools, especially like an adze. They're usually pretty expensive. So we're going to do our best using this, and then we'll probably transition to the shave horse to use the Tuca cam. Just want to kind of hog out a lot of the material with this thing. So we're going to get started. So I'm just going to kind of chop away here. We'll get a little dicey right here. This is like so bad. Oh geez, how am I going to do this? Remember, don't follow my techniques at home. I'm not really sure how this is going to go, but so that's what I'm going to be doing. Going to be hogging this out, as I say. And in no time, we've just done a little bit of work here. Got a nice little indent there. So I'll keep playing with this, and then when we are ready to transition to the shave horse, that's what we will do. Be right back, guys. Okay, guys, we're back. So we did a little bit of work with the adze, and now we're going to move on to the Tuca cams. And what I'm going to use initially, or first, is this Tuca cam from Richard Weaver, which is who's someone that I found on Instagram. Did a very quick mini review of his tools. Carving knife is really good. Tuca cam is good. And I'm finding, just like with his tool and another guy, Beelzebub, they're very similar in how they cut. Do this on camera here so I can show you guys how I'm doing this. uh, they don't cut the same as a Nick Westerman. Like, part of the, I guess, issue, is how it comes out of the cut. But the Westermans, I feel, are not more of a finishing tool, but they are really good at finishing. I don't know. I mean, I guess in some aspects, you could finish, like, cut your stuff with this, but I think it's the way it's rounded here. It's more flat here, so I don't know if that plays a factor in. I don't know if that plays a factor in how it, I guess, comes out of the cut. I guess is how I can describe it. So anyway, we're going to do a little bit of hollowing here with this, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing a little bit. This is just like anything else. This wood's gotten slightly dry, and this wood is a little bit, it's I guess higher on this side than it is here. There's more thickness on this right side than here. So what's going to be the purpose of this bowl? I don't know. It's probably going to be, oh man, it's probably going to be more of a catch-all bowl. You are going to be able to eat with it, I guess, but it's also going to be good for, like, as a decorative bowl, I guess. So, this is pretty standard techniques here, run of the mill. You've seen me do this a million times. This is no different than making a kuksa, I guess. This is basically a kuksa without a handle, or a same technique as you would make a cooking spoon or an eating spoon, just a little bit bigger. That's all it is. That's the approach I'm taking. Some people would say, why don't you cut the outside first and all that stuff? So I'll get to this later on, but I'll kind of give you a sneak peek here, or an idea of what I'm going to be doing. Because there isn't much material here, I am going to use a power tool to kind of cut away some of the excess. I am going to maybe use an axe a little bit, but I am going to use the bandsaw that I have to gently shape and remove a lot of the material, again, to be a little bit safer, and also to just make it a little easier. If I had more waste here for the bowl, I would just use the axe and do it, but since I kind of have like two items here, I'm just trying to use everything as use the material as best I can without wasting anything, and I can still make some items that I want to make. So that's a little spoiler alert, I guess. So there will be some power tool use with this one, which I don't really like to use, but sometimes you kind of have to. So this is all I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to remove a lot of the material with the Tuka cams, and then when I have some more done, I'll come back with some more, hopefully, exciting progress. Be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back. So here's what we did so far with the Tuka cam. It's a nice, it's pretty deep. It's going to be probably pretty shallow. Again, this is kind of like what I'm just going to call a catch-all bowl. You can't, I guess you can eat with it maybe for like a kid, like a toddler or a baby. You can use this for their food. Maybe not. It's not for an adult. This is only about 4 inches in diameter. So, and it's not super deep. So, it's very shallow. Again, maybe as a decorative piece to just admire its beauty. Whatever else. Again, limited by your imagination. So, I'm going to spare you the details of cutting this out with the bandsaw. I'm essentially just going to be knocking off the corners. And again, typically I would do that with the axe, but because I don't have any waste material to hold on to while I chop away, because I have this other spoon laid out here, I decided to, cut it out with the bandsaw. Again, just simply knocking the corners off, and then I'll have to do the rest with the knife. So there'll still be a lot more of hard work to go, but I'll be right back when that's done. All right. All right, we're back. So we're actually moving along pretty good. One might say we're moving a lot faster than we are when we make a spoon. I don't know. So here's what we have after the bandsaw work. If you did it more perfectly, you can even leave it just like this and finish it up and all that kind of stuff. But I am going to use the axe a little bit now and kind of, it's really thick, and kind of chop away at this material here. And then we'll have to move on to the knife work. And this will all be cleaned up too, and then of course it'll be set aside to dry for a while. Just so you know, I am expecting it to crack. I don't want it to. I'm going to try my best to keep it preserved. I'll soak it in water, keep it in a bag so the moisture can slowly dry and do all that kind of stuff. To the best of my ability, I will do that. But if it does crack, we'll experiment with new techniques as we always try to do here, and hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. So basically this is just like anything else, except just imagine we have a long handle here and it's a spoon. You're going to kind of use the axe to kind of chop away. There is a little bit of risk that I am worried about with using the axe and the force of the axe when the bowl is already hollowed out. Again, ideally you probably would want to rough out the outer edge of the bowl and then do the hollowing, much like a lot of the bowl turners do when they do their lathe work, whether it be electric lathe. What I usually see is they'll rough or carve out the outside, and then they'll move to the hollowing. And I guess that's for a lot of different reasons that we can probably think of. So without further ado, again, we're going to remove some of this material here. And I'm just going to, hopefully don't mess this up. If I do, that's kind of the way it goes, I guess. And you see the risk in not having any waste material, but there is an advantage. I think if you guys follow Woodcraft Hamster, he has a great channel about carving techniques and different things, but mostly it's carving. I love his channel. And he was mentioning some long video ago where, I believe it was from his channel, where once you hollow it out, now you can kind of have something to grip onto while you chop away. So that's an idea there. Suggest you check out his channel. I enjoy his channel. And I think he just recently got on Instagram. Although I don't think he really posts a lot of stuff on Instagram, but he has a pretty good following on YouTube. And I can kind of one of the first people I subscribed to when I created this Bearded Carver channel. It was one of the people that I saw putting out a lot of content about different techniques. He brought to my attention about Nick Westerman through his videos. So someone that I kind of appreciate the hard work that he's done so far. So this is all we're going to be doing. I'm going to kind of be very carefully roughing out the shape of this. I have to be very careful. Trying to do as much as I can with the axe here before I move on to the knife. It's going to be a lot of work with the knife, carving knife. So that's what I'm going to do. When I have some more done, I'll be back. Here's just a little bit of the progress that I did so far. You can't really see anything. Oh, man. So just kind of slowly and surely taking these corners off and rounding it or to whatever shape you want. I want a more or less rounded shape. So yeah, so be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. So I think I'm going to make this a several part video because it's getting a little late now, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done on this bowl. And I'm going to do a little bit of knife work here, but I did the best I could with the axe, really kind of chewing this thing up. Very difficult because this is kind of like end grain here. So as you guys all know, that's a little bit tough to work. So I'm just going to do a little bit of knife work and just kind of just generally shaping this thing. This is going to be really difficult to do, and I've made a couple of these in the past, like these similar small bowls. Very difficult because there really isn't much to hold on to when you use the knife. Again, there's probably a ton of different ways or better ways you could do this. There's never just one way to do something, as we know. But this is what I have available, which isn't much. Shave horse and some other things. So I'm just going to do a little bit of carving here, and I'll just kind of rant and ramble and talk. I'm going to just kind of give it a more or less of a flat base if I can. There's still a lot of material here. I don't want to go too thin, of course. This one might even be for my personal collection. I'm not really sure. Never made an actual walnut bowl before. I kind of started one, but didn't finish it. It was a bigger bowl. I have it still in my bag over here. And in case you're wondering, I'm using a carving knife from Richard Weaver. I mentioned him using his Tuca camera a little bit earlier. And this knife's actually really good. Very strong. Holds an edge. I haven't had this thing chip at all, which is great. So we're just going to be doing a little bit of carving. I'm just going to kind of be flipping this thing around, feeling it. It's a little thin here, very thick here. So that was just kind of the way the lob was shaped. So I obviously need to kind of remove a lot of material here. And this isn't, again, with the hand carving for me, the process and how I make this is, to me, what is most enjoyable. It's not about speed or efficiency for the most part. I would like to be more efficient and make things a little easier using the hand tools. I suppose if I had a little shave or a bowl horse, I could use the draw knife to kind of knock this out. I guess I'm thinking about this now. If I had more waste wood, I can kind of make a kuxa with a very crude handle, and then kind of cut the handle off when I'm done, because I do like bowls. I like their simplicity. I like the shapes of them. So, it's not all about making a kuxa. It's about just making something that you enjoy making. So I guess in the next time, if I had more waste wood, I could just make a handle and then kind of secure it, and then I could even do some more of the draw knife work with it. So, well, guys, I think we're going to end it here today with this. I'm going to set this aside. Where's my sheath? I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. I'm going to set this aside, and tinker with it here and there. Oh, Jesus. I think that was the cat doing that. Hopefully she's all right. The next part of this that I'll show is probably the more or less finishing cuts on the inside to kind of clean this up and show you the tools that I use. And if I can think of anything else, I'll definitely show that if I can. And of course, we'll do an oiling video and everything like that when this is dry. Be it probably about another month or so. So that's kind of how. Jesus Christ! All right, let me go see what these damn cats are doing, and be right back. Oh, and I won't be back. We'll be back with part two in a very, very near future. See you guys.